So what we're going to do is we're going to use our graphing calculator to help us find the limit of this function by completing this table and see what are my f of x, what is my y value approaching as x approaches 2. And in this situation, I've kind of predetermined what the values are that we're going to use so that we can kind of get a sense of what we're looking for. And then we'll move forward in the next problem with kind of using our own values. Okay, so go ahead and pull out your graphing calculator. I'm going to use this one here on screen. So the first thing that we need to do, there's a couple things. First, in y equals, we need to put in the equation. So I actually have the equation already in here. But what you're going to do is you're going to open up your parentheses. So you're going to do, I'll re-enter it. So we'll go parentheses and then x squared minus 3x plus 2, close your parentheses, divided by, open your parentheses again for the denominator, x minus 2, and then close your parentheses. So there is our curve. If we graphed it, you could see that's what it's going to end up looking like graphically. If we look at our table, so in the table set, right, if we looked at the table of values, you can see that it's just kind of -6, -5, -4. And then here at 2, the number that we're trying to approach, there's an error. Because x minus 2 is actually going to be a factor of what we have on top here. So there's an error there because it's going to, kind of like that last one, create a hole. Now, these aren't the numbers that we want to use. We want to use these numbers in our table. So how do we do that? So let's go through some processes to kind of set up our table. So we're going to go under window into this table set. You're going to hit second window to get table set. And those are the setups, the settings for your table. And we actually want to, rather than have it automatically fill in the independent and dependent variable values, we want it to ask. So what this is going to do is let us define what values we use in our table. So we're going to go down here and we're going to toggle over, hit enter, and we're going to do ask. Now, if I do auto for the dependent, what that's going to do is it's going to automatically fill in my table once I put in my independent variables. But I want it to, so like if we did second table, right? So now you can see there are no x values. And if I plugged in one like 0, it will automatically fill in the y. Now, I actually don't want it to automatically fill in the y because I want to be able to set up all of my values in my table first and then hit enter so that we can see what it's approaching. That's just for this problem. Just because I want to kind of reveal as we go along. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this value. So going back into the table set, so second window, I'm also going to have it ask on the dependent variable. And basically what that means is you're just going to have to hit enter when trying to reveal that value. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our table, and we're going to input all of these values in for x here. So go ahead and do that, and then we will kind of reveal them in the y's. Okay, so now that you have your table set up with all of its values here, we're going to go ahead and try and see what is it approaching. So we're going to look at 1.75. So we're going to go ahead and toggle over into the y, and you're just going to hit enter, and it's going to reveal that value. So we have 0.75. What about at 1.9? We get 0.9. At 0.999, we get that. At 1.999, we get 0.999. So we can see that it looks like the y values as we are approaching 2 from the left, from values below 2, is getting closer and closer to 1. What about at 2? Well, there's an error, so we know, because we know that there was a hole in our graph there. Now, rather than starting at 2.01, I want to go down here to 2.25 and kind of see what is it approaching as we move in from the right, as we move in from those values. So hit enter, 1.25, 1.1, 1.01, 1.001. So it looks like as we are approaching from the left and we're approaching from the right, this number is, the y values are getting closer and closer to 1. So even though the actual value of this function doesn't exist at x equals 2, it's approaching 1 from either side. So we would say that this limit is 1. This limit is 1.